from CloudMasters Inc. on Identity and Access Management, or IDAM, in the AWS Government Cloud. This module is designed to provide an understanding of IDAM services, their benefits, principles, and a step-by-step guide for implementation. Module 1. What is IDAM in AWS Government Cloud? Identity and Access Management, or IDAM, refers to the framework and technology for managing users' identities and access to resources. In AWS Government Cloud, IDAM provides secure, scalable, and controlled access to AWS resources, ensuring that sensitive government data is protected according to stringent compliance requirements like FedRAMP and DoD SRG. Key components: IAM Users represents individual accounts with access to AWS resources. IAM Groups, a collection of IAM users for easier permission management. IAM Roles defines a set of permissions to allow trusted entities like users, applications, or other AWS services to assume the role and access AWS resources. IAM Policies. These are JSON-formatted documents that define permissions and regulate access to AWS resources. Module 2. Benefits of IDAM in AWS Government Cloud. 1. Enhanced security. Granular access control through IAM policies ensures only authorized users can access specific AWS resources. Multi-Factor Authentication, or MFA, adds an additional layer of security. AWS Government Cloud's compliance with federal and regulatory standards ensures data is handled securely. 2. Compliance with government regulations. AWS Government Cloud adheres to government frameworks such as FedRAMP, NIST 800, 53, CGIS, HIPAA, and ITAR, enabling organizations to meet regulatory compliance. Auditing features like AWS CloudTrail track API activities to ensure accountability and security compliance. 3. Simplified management of users. Centralized user management through IAM allows easy provisioning, updating, and deactivation of users. Integration with existing enterprise directory services, such as Active Directory via AWS Directory Service, ensures seamless management. 4. Scalability. IAM scales automatically with your growing user base, providing unlimited, centralized user and permission management without performance degradation. IAM roles and groups help in managing large teams, services, or applications. 5. Cost efficiency. There's no additional cost for using IAM within AWS Government Cloud. Organizations only pay for the AWS resources accessed. Module 3, Principles of IDAM in AWS Government Cloud. First, let's talk about least privilege access. Users, roles, and applications should be given the minimal permissions necessary to complete their tasks. AWS YAM policies should always reflect this principle to minimize potential security risks. Next, we have separation of duties. It's essential to separate responsibilities among different roles or individuals to avoid any one person having too much access. For example, an admin who can manage users shouldn't also have unrestricted access to critical resources. Then there's Multi-Factor Authentication, or MFA. Enabling MFA for all users enhances security by requiring a second form of authentication, such as a token or mobile application. Policy enforcement is another key principle. IAM policies should be enforced through well-written policies that define what actions a user, group, or role can perform on specific AWS resources. Finally, continuous monitoring and auditing. AWS CloudTrail should be used to track user activities, including login events and resource access patterns. Logs should be continuously reviewed for any unauthorized access or abnormal behavior. Module 4. Implementing IDAM in AWS Government Cloud. Step 1 is setting up users and groups. First, create IAM users. Log into the AWS Government Cloud console and navigate to the IAM dashboard. Click Add Users, create unique usernames for each user, and set permissions. Next, create IAM groups. Create groups such as admin, developers, or auditors, each with a specific set of permissions. Then, assign users to groups. Add users to the appropriate groups for simplified permissions management. Step 2 is defining IAM roles. First, create IAM roles for AWS services. Roles are necessary when granting AWS services like EC2 or Lambda permission to interact with other AWS resources. Go to IAM, then Roles, and click Create Role. Define the trusted entity, whether it's a service, AWS account, or another entity. Next, assign the role to resources. Attach the role to specific AWS resources so that the service has the necessary permissions. Step 3 is writing and attaching IAM policies. First, create and attach policies. Policies can be predefined, known as AWS Managed Policies, or custom, known as Customer Managed Policies. Write JSON policies that define exactly what actions are permitted on specific AWS resources. Here's an example policy. Version October 17, 2012. Statement, effect, allow, action, S3 list bucket, resource ARN Oz SS3. Example bucket. Next, attach policies to users, groups, and roles. Attach relevant policies to users or groups depending on their job functions. Step 4 is enabling MFA for users. Go to IAM, then Users, then Security Credentials, and click Activate MFA for each user. Set up either a virtual MFA device like Google Authenticator or a hardware MFA device. Step 5 is monitoring and auditing with AWS CloudTrail. First, set up AWS CloudTrail. CloudTrail enables detailed logging of every action taken in your AWS environment. Enable logging for all AWS regions to ensure comprehensive monitoring. Next, review logs. Use AWS CloudWatch or third-party solutions to review CloudTrail logs for suspicious activity or to fulfill compliance reporting requirements. Module 5, Best Practices for Managing IDAM in AWS Government Cloud. First, regularly rotate IAM credentials. Rotate access keys and passwords to reduce the risk of exposure. Next, limit root user access. The root user account has unlimited access. It's a best practice to avoid using this account for day-to-day operations. Then, use roles for cross-account access. Instead of sharing access keys, use roles for secure cross-account access. Also, set strong password policies. Enforce strong password policies and rotate them regularly. Finally, review access permissions regularly. Conduct regular audits of IAM policies and adjust permissions as necessary. Conclusion. In this training, we've covered the fundamentals of Identity and Access Management, or IDAM, within AWS Government Cloud, focusing on its importance for securing government data, ensuring compliance, and efficiently managing user access. By implementing best practices such as least privilege access, enabling MFA, and continuous monitoring, organizations can secure their AWS environments effectively. For a deeper dive into specific areas or hands-on practice, please refer to AWS documentation or the next module of our course on advanced IAM practices and AWS service integrations. Thank you, and see you in the next class. Bye.